This is actually more for HPD. You repeatedly said throughout the presentation, that HPD is targeting people at the 80%, I guess, AMI, or that's the homes that you're hoping to provide. It's for those at the 80% AMI. That's the range that you're looking at, which is a family of 3 who makes $112K a year. Is that correct?
So yeah, I think what we said is that 80% is the max for most HPD housing. That is the maximum. So that is the upper limit of income. So like, for example, I mentioned the extremely low and low income affordability program that is being implemented at the Bergen Green project. So that would be like the very max, but most of the households in that project are between 30 and 60% of area median income. So that would be for an 100% affordable housing. And then, mention that for mandatory inclusionary housing, here for it's 25% at 60% AMI is sort of like the standard AMI option, and for that we really could go a range. It's really like above and below as long as you average to 60, but what we typically see or could anticipate is really between 40 and 80 or 40 and 100. So yeah, there's a range.
So what I guess I'm trying to understand is, even though the range is there, how are we doing deeply affordable housing? Because 80% is nice, and it's a little more affordable than what we see in the neighborhood, but it is still not considered affordable for a very, very high percentage of this neighborhood, right? And I think that we're all agreed on that. So the next question then comes is, how are we, and I should say you.
Yeah.
How are you going to service that community, and what are you planning to do? So here you talk about more workshops and more tenant organizing. That's already happening. I've been spending the last 10 years of my life doing that. I tenant organize. We don't need you to come in and do that. What we need and what we begged you for is legal representation in court. You're taking $3 million to give it to a community organization so that you can tell me that I shouldn't be evicted. Well, guess what? What happens when I get in front of a judge? There's a landlord attorney there. I've got no attorney. I don't know my rights. I only know my rights, but I don't know the cases that are going to actually help me enforce those rights. Do your tenant organizers know what a Shepherd-Neely law is? Do your tenant organizers know what a Getzer law is? No, and they are not in a position where they should be telling tenants that anyways. But those are things that can help a tenant win their eviction hearings and win their cases. How are you marrying tenant protections with actually protecting the tenant in real time? That is what I want to know.
Yeah, no, really.
Well, exactly. We really shouldn't even have to, but you're going to continually put us in this position, clearly, that we are going to have to. Your own maps prove it, your own displacement map. So you're absolutely correct. I agree with you 100%. I hate the fact that we even have to do this. I hate the fact that I am a tenant organizer, or that I even have to be that. I hate the fact that that tenants still need lawyers overwhelmingly in housing court. I hate the facts, but this is where we are, right? I think we can all agree on that. My question is, though, what are you going to do about it? Put another $3 million into sending out a pamphlet and showing and having a Know Your Rights tenant workshop? Like,
it's a human.
I just can't get over how tone deaf, and I say this tone deaf that you must have all been throughout this process, because nobody asked you to put on a workshop or to give us another community organizing, tenant organizing. Nobody was asking for that. Tenants came in overwhelmingly begging, pleading, better laws and protection under those laws. How have you addressed that?
It's a human right.
I'm sorry, my visual is not.
Affordability, of course, relates to other citywide changes, things that we're not controlling through this project. I did want to mention, one thing, 485X, which obviously at this point, we're now capped at 100% AMI. I know that's at the higher end, so that's lower, right? So that's something that we're kind of bringing things down on the higher end, but back to kind of getting things lower on the lower end. We were talking in a lot of generalities today, because like the 6 public site projects that we talked about today, only 2 of them have a program. So there were only 2 where I could really give you specifics. Like this is going to be a senior program, a senior housing where the max is going to be 50% AMI. So when we're talking about lower, that is a program where the max is going to be 50. The other program that we actually were able to share in full today was, 2/3 up to 60% AMI, and that other 1/3 is going to be up to 80. So that is, that's definitely reaching those lower incomes. We're going to be coming back to this board over the next several years to be talking about the programs for the other projects as they develop and as they move forward. So again, this is one where we don't have that information yet, but we hope to target more deeply affordable incomes. Same with 1110 Atlantic and the other projects in Bed-Stuy that were mentioned as well. So that's on the affordability. I do want to talk about the tenant protections as well. So I think it's a bit of a generalization to say that Partners in Preservation is just workshops. It's more than that. Obviously, in this context, I was presenting it quickly. I wasn't going into all the weeds, but I think one of the really key tools with that program is that it connects folks to lawyers, and it connects folks to the city agencies that provide a role in the legal process, and it's bringing folks closer because it's an HPD program. The city has a role in really driving those kind of like helping folks navigate government and navigate the legal system. So it's not just that we are training people about their rights and sending them on their way. There's like really a hands-on approach there and work that the city is doing with the mayor's office to kind of advance tenant rights right now. So this is not a standalone item. There are other citywide efforts going on as well.
None of them include legal representation for tenants in housing court.
Okay, well, we'll bring that back and make sure.
I'm asking you, do any of them include guaranteed legal representation for tenants in housing court?
Yeah.
You're saying partner with a lawyer, connect with a lawyer. That's what I do all day. I call legal aid and I refer people. I connect and liaise all day. I don't represent people in court. I'm speaking about just let's.
Yeah, no, I hear that. So we'll definitely be taking. I'll take that back.
That's what you said the last time.
Okay. Well, I will do it again.
Okay.
Because we have 6 more months of this process,
Alrighty.
So we're not done yet.
I have faith in you. I have faith you can do it.
There's more time ahead.
Thing that Mimi was talking about, especially about displacement and about representation. I just came from working at housing court today, and the organization that I work for, the average we screen people for assistance when they're in court. And the average rent is about $1,600. That seems pretty affordable, but people are already struggling to hold on to an apartment that is at $1,600. The average, I don't know if y'all can hear, but anyway, the average net income that people we talk to is like $2,400 a month. And, it's not what you make on SSI, which is $990 a month, but it's still, people are struggling. And also that rent burden is super high. Rent is eating up way more. And I'm sorry, I feel like another big thing that we kept coming to these workshops and saying was we need better than MIH when it comes to the affordability of these projects, because it's cool if 20% of this building is going to be for people at a lower income level. But in order to get that pretty small percentage, we are accepting 80% of that building. And the developers who came and did all of these private projects, they're telling us, oh yeah, it'll be a studio for $3,000, right? This person who is struggling to hold on to their apartment right now, are they going to be able to survive? They'll never even get a $3,000 studio. And that is the vast majority of what's being produced with this rezoning. And so it's not like no rezoning ever is going to happen. No, like rezonings are going to happen, but holy good Lord, we need it to be better than MIH. I think people have known MIH is just not good enough for a really long time, and I think that we made it super clear. And again, just to reiterate, lawyers make all of the difference. You can get I give trainings on how to read a rent history, how to identify overcharge, but tenants trying to do it on their own fail time again in court. They can't do it, right? You can be a brilliant tenant fighting for all of this, but lawyers are the ones who actually win overcharge cases. And ideally, in Crown Heights Tenant Union, we have tons of member buildings, and we're at the point where the lawyers who do group cases against negligent landlords, abusive landlords, widespread overcharge, the lawyers just don't have capacity to represent all these buildings. The city is not even paying the legal service providers right now. It's an underspoken thing, but a lot of the legal service providers are not even getting paid right now, right? The like executive directors are trying to take out loans. Like, this is nuts, right? And we need more, and I'm not hearing what's actually coming. So
We heard about 3 million going into workshops. Respectfully, workshops and tenant education.
Now, what she said is true, right?
Wait, hold on.
One second, sir.
Dion, you're out of order. There's an order. Thank you for the information. Ladies, I know where your passion is. Who speaks after Ms. Young? Mr. Bocconi? No, there's supposed to be a woman and Mr. Meehan.
I'm not a woman, but.
I'm sorry, no, there was supposed to be a woman in between, but she's
Was
left.
that, lady?
No, you go.
Sure. So the number that I've had